Once in a Generation is a film made that changes the whole entire notion of cinema. A film that abandons the usual three-plot structure everyone is so used to, in favor for something more abstract. A film not meant to be analyzed, but rather felt. A film that believes telling stories and character struggles through masterly crafted images that will stay in your mind long after the credits. This is poetic filmmaking at its purest. Welcome to The Artist's Choice.
Понимаешь, что он от меня
My first experiencing viewing Andrei Tarkovsky's film, Mirror, I won't lie, I didn't like it. I thought the visuals were nice and the story was lacking severely. I was very critical of this movie mainly because I had spent close to $60 on it, so you can understand I was a little bit pissed. I had heard of Tarkovsky's work through YouTube mainly and was instantly curious to learn more of the director's work. I had went to my local Barnes & Nobles and was sifting through the Criterion collection, as one does, when I stumbled across Andrei Tarkovsky's Mirror. It was this, or Bong Joon-ho's Memories of Murder. I went in blind, knowing nothing of what I was about to watch. I had my theories of what certain things in the film meant, like the bird, the fact that we never see the main character, well, kinda, and why is she washing her hair like that? Seriously, lady, who does that? I then did some background knowledge of the film. Found out that the plot is about a dying poet in his 40s, revealing his memories to the viewers. Then I also found out that this is sort of a autobiographical film about Tarkovsky's upbringing. With this newfound knowledge, I went back to view the film a second time to see if my opinions and criticisms would change. To my amaze, nothing did. I had understood the film a little bit more, but that didn't change my opinions. I took some time away from it to reflect. I pondered if maybe I was viewing the movie wrong. Maybe this film isn't asking you to solve its meaning, but rather to feel the film. I viewed it a third time. This time, I abandoned all my preconceived notions of film. I went in with an open mind. And that's when I felt Tarkovsky's Mirror. To help better understand Mirror a little bit better, it's told from three perspectives. From Tarkovsky's own memories, his mother's, and newsreels. Tarkovsky is showing us how he remembers the past, and is recreating it how he experienced it. Tarkovsky's philosophy towards filmmaking was about finding the meaning in life, and how humanity will strive endlessly to answer a question that will never be answered. He loved to explore themes of existential crises and exploring characters through a poetic lens. He was infatuated with nature and how it interacted with the environment and actors, and that clearly shows, often getting close-up shots of water dripping on a mossy, decaying wall, or the warmth of a teacup fading away on a table. If you can visually feel the image, then the image comes alive. Tarkovsky enhances this effect by allowing time energy to flow through each scene. What do I mean by that? Tarkovsky believed that a certain scene contained a certain amount of time energy, and this was his own concept that he created. I personally still have a hard time wrapping my head around this concept, but basically, he would use long takes with little to no editing to create a sense of immersion. Tarkovsky called this method sculpting in time. When Tarkovsky was in the editing room piecing this film together, he admitted that it initially didn't hold together. He would go through at least 20 re-edits of this film before coming to the final film itself. He had said that time itself just came together, and that each scene was connected through a bloodstream. This is why at times certain scenes may seem random, like the mother going to the printing press, or the random military training scenes. You may view these as random inclusions added on, but in fact, the characters would sometimes tell us when we're about to go into the next scene. For example, when the main character gets a call from his mother, calling about how her old coworker had died. The main character not remembering his mother's coworker until she mentions that she used to work with her at the printing press. And then the next scene is the mother going to the printing press. It may seem that scenes are not connected, but they absolutely are. Just not in the way you expect. Tarkovsky also uses his father's poems in the movie. A little bit of background: Tarkovsky's father had left him when he was only 3, but his father's work inspired him deeply. And it shows. His father's poems emphasize the meaning of life. They may seem like an odd addition to the movie, but in fact, it enhances the viewing experience by allowing us to understand the dying poet's thought process and how he's ready to let go. Now, about that title, Mirror. Why did he call this movie Mirror when we only see 2 mirrors throughout the whole entire film? Blasphemy, but there is a deeper meaning to the title. The reason he called this film Mirror is because Tarkovsky is showing us his reflection on his past, a recreation of how he sees the past through his artistic eyes. This is how Tarkovsky experienced life. We as the audience are looking into Tarkovsky's own creative mind. In other words, we are looking into Tarkovsky's own mirror. I've only seen one Tarkovsky film, and that one film changed how I view cinema. If I'm being completely honest with myself and you, there are still parts of Mirror I do not understand and maybe will never understand because this is such a personal film. This film was not made for a general audience, and maybe not even for his fans. If one thing is evident, that this film was made solely and purely for Andrei Tarkovsky and nobody else. And I can personally relate to that. Tarkovsky's Mirror is a work of art, and truly is now one of my new favorite directors. This is a film not made for everyone, but if you're willing to give it a chance, go in with an open mind, abandon your preconceived notions of film, and feel the mirror. Thank you for watching.